Christie has been the best-selling novelist of all time, only being outsold by Shakespeare and, of course, the Bible. It's only befitting that a truly great mystery writer, and arguably the best, had undergone a little drama and intrigue in her personal life as well. Agatha Christie was raised by a mother who was rather strange in her ways. Clara Miller, the mother, was quite convinced that she was a psychic with an ability to predict the future. As part of the same general pseudo-religious tapestry that led to her belief in clairvoyance, Christie's mother allegedly didn't want her to have formal education until Agatha was much older. However, Agatha Christie had a deep fascination for books, and hence she taught herself to read and write, and took to serious writing at a very early age. A few years afterwards, Agatha successfully took the exam of the Society of Apothecaries and worked at a hospital after the First World War. Catherine Harkup, in her book A is for Arsenic, The Poisons of Agatha Christie, suggests how, due to the prescriptions being prepared by hand in those days, Agatha became extremely familiar with the dosages of a variety of drugs and their toxic effects. So before Agatha Christie became the world's best-selling mystery writer, she actually dealt with such toxic compounds firsthand. No wonder, therefore, many of her acquaintances in real life would hesitate when Agatha would offer them a cup of tea. She became notoriously good at devising undetectable poisons, at least in fiction. Agatha Christie once reportedly said, I quote, "Give me a decent bottle of poison and I'll construct the perfect crime," unquote. As it turned out, she did construct such crimes many times. Out of her 66 murder mysteries, poison was the cause of death for more than 30 characters. In her autobiography, Agatha Christie writes, I quote, "Since I was surrounded by poisons, perhaps it was natural that death by poisoning should be the method I select," unquote. However, Agatha Christie was left horrified when a real-world killer took a clue from her fictional mystery writings and murdered 2 people. A British factory worker named Graham Frederick killed 2 of his co-workers by dosing their coffee and tea with thallium, a substance described as a poison in one of Agatha's novels, The Pale Horse. But that was not always the case with her meticulously researched poisons. In fact, some doctors used her novels as reference notes. There have been anecdotes that at least 2 lives were saved thanks to medical staff who immediately recognized the symptoms of poison simply because they had read Agatha Christie's novels. In December 1926, the great mystery writer lived a plot from one of her own novels. On 4th December, Agatha Christie, carrying nothing but an attache case, sped away from her home. Her car was found 2 days later, abandoned on the edge of a pit with front wheels overhanging the edge. From then onwards, for 2 weeks, no one could find out where she had vanished. Agatha Christie's disappearance made headlines all over the world. Christie had left behind 3 letters, one for her secretary which contained scheduling details, another for her brother-in-law stating that she was going to a Yorkshire spa for rest and treatment, and a 3rd letter to her husband who refused to divulge what she had written. It was rumored that Agatha's husband, Colonel Archibald Christie, was having an affair with a woman, which Agatha had discovered. Post her disappearance, there were also rumors about a sealed envelope that was to be opened only in the event of Agatha Christie's dead body being found out. Unconvinced by her letter to her brother-in-law, the police appealed to local people for help in finding Agatha Christie. It may come as a surprise to many, but nearly 15,000 people participated in the search for Mrs. Christie. After 9 days, the mystery writer was finally found at a Yorkshire spa. Her husband informed reporters, I quote, "She does not know who she is. She has suffered from the most complete loss of memory," unquote. According to the Times, Christie had checked into the spa as Mrs. Tressa Neal. When questioned about this name, Colonel Christie feigned ignorance about knowing anyone by that name. Years later, it was revealed that Agatha Christie had, in fact, used the name of her husband's girlfriend. Interestingly, after a year and 3 months, Agatha sued her husband for divorce. Even after 8 decades or so, biographers and historians still debate what could have happened, prompting Agatha Christie to vanish. Was it revenge? Was it depression? Or was it plain amnesia? In the recently published biography by Laura Thompson, titled Agatha Christie, an English Mystery, published in 2007, Laura quotes a close friend of Agatha. I quote, "It was the unspoken subject. Agatha refused to talk about it to anyone. It was a real no-go," unquote. Thus, the most intriguing of all of Agatha's mysteries remains unsolved even today.